Hey, today is September 26th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live After Dark here on ClaimsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by
I should have my silk bathrobe on and a pipe. I should be going to the production meeting, so I know this stuff.
Right? Yeah, that would. We both should actually attend those, and then we'd know what we were talking about here on these shows. But hey, good evening to all of you. As the Cardinals have an off day today, not their final off day of the season.
Yeah.
As the schedule kind of is kind of nice for them this week. The Redbirds are in Milwaukee. They play tomorrow and Wednesday against the Brewers, and then another off day on Thursday. But hey, since we last left you on Friday, we saw history.
I had to yell at my cat.
We saw history happen Friday night at Dodger Stadium as Albert Pujols hits career home run number 699 and 700. Yeah. Rammer, can you name the other three pitchers in baseball history that have given up career home runs number 700?
No.
Ken Brett gave up.
George Brett's big brother.
I did. Yeah, he is. He is. Actually, yeah, he is. He's the youngest. George Brett had three brothers that played professional baseball. I just found that out just now, Rammer. This is me.
Ken Brett wasn't a great pitcher, but he was a nice pitcher. Had a decent career.
He gave up career home run number 700 to Hank Aaron. Phil Bickford gave up career home run. Let's see, as I go through here.
I remember old-time actor Charles Bickford. That's all I got for you.
Yeah.
Look him up, too.
Yeah, Phil Bickford, he gave up home runs 700 to Albert Pujols. Tommy Bridges gave up career home run number 700 to Babe Ruth.
Wasn't he a kid actor on The Facts of Life or something like that? Oh, I'm thinking of Todd Bridges.
I was going to say Tommy Bridges. Well, he pitched in the 1930s, so I don't think he was a child actor when TV was around.
What show was Todd Bridges on?
Todd Bridges?
Somebody will write into the show on our mailbag segment.
Todd Bridges, Different Strokes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, Rammer, do you know who gave up career home run number 700 to Barry Lamar Bonds?
I've already said no.
Jake Peavy.
Jake Peavy.
Yes. I'm going to say maybe the best career of all of those pitchers, possibly.
Peavy, when he was good, was pretty darn good.
Yeah. Tommy Bridges, 6-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion in his day. So I don't know. Maybe he does have one up on Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols also, as we talk about the accolades, he was named co-player of the week for the National League this week. The 12th time overall in his career, second time this season. He and Pete Alonso share that title for the National League. And I believe it was, I want to say Stephen Kwan of the Guardians named for the American League. Rammer, you saw it.
By the way, he's having a hell of a year, and the Guardians are rolling into the playoffs.
Rammer, just quickly, as I talked with Claibs about it earlier today on the lunch show. He gave his thoughts on career home run number 700. When you saw it and looking back at it happening Friday night in Dodger Stadium, what were your emotions as that ball cleared the wall?
Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, I was lucky I was on the road. Coming back from the University of Arkansas, college visit for my youngest, the day took longer than we thought. It was a great day. Coming home, we were into St. Louis County, and the reason I say I'm lucky is because I was able to hear the great job they did on KMOX. Not just the play-by-play of John Rooney, but a very crowded radio booth that can get uncomfortable, that people can be stepping all over each other, that it can be a problem. It was just the opposite. You had a booth full of professionals who understood the moment and all worked together as a team. And I think for KMOX, it's really, truly a proud moment for those guys. John Rooney, Rick Horton, Mike Claiborne, Dan McLaughlin, and of course, producer engineer Jim Jackson. It was a great moment for that broadcast. Then when he hit 700, we were just about pulling into the driveway. So I was able to run in turn on Apple TV. I only had to back it up a little bit, and boom, boom, and I got to see them both almost live. So normally I don't like to go back and see stuff if I didn't see it. If I didn't see it live, it kind of loses some luster. But that was almost live, and it was very cool.
Yeah, I didn't wake up my son for 700. Waited till I got home from the gym Saturday morning and put it on YouTube and let him watch the highlights of that
Very
to
good.
get his emotions, seeing it for the first time. And like I've said all year long, just being able to share Albert Pujols' final season with him, who had no idea, what he meant to Cardinal baseball prior to this season. Just getting to share all these moments has been one of the coolest things I've experienced as a dad.
One of these nerd things, I think that's awesome, by the way. One of these nerd things I'll do here coming up is do one of my typical deep dives into baseball reference, like I do just when I'm bored or even when I'm not bored. And the number doesn't make me come up with what I'm about to say, but it kind of illuminated that I think we can say that Albert Pujols is the greatest right-handed hitting first baseman, and he's not Lou Gehrig, but he's pretty damn close. And when you are the best of something of all time, I mean, we already knew after year 10, the best 10 years to start a career in the history of the game. Right-handed, left-handed, Ruthian era, golden age, doesn't matter. Juice era, doesn't matter. The best 10 years for a career. He already had that. Then with the home runs and the RBIs, and like I say, I'll do a deep dive, and I think when it comes to right-handed first baseman, he is the guy.
I don't know if I've told this story on the air anytime. So growing up on the south side of Chicago, being a White Sox fan, growing up a Frank Thomas fan.
What a stud. Me too.
I remember as a child, as a kid, probably almost the same age maybe as my son is now, I had a souvenir cup from a White Sox game that, one of those you buy, whatever. And on the back of it, I remember having the first 7 years of Frank Thomas's career were on there about all the stuff he did, 100 hits, 100 runs, 100 RBIs, and all of the players that had only the few players that had the first 7 year career to first 7 years of their career matching what Frank Thomas did to the first 7 years. And I mean, I had that, and I was one of those kids, every day reading that cup and reading the exact same thing that was on that until basically I had just, rubbed it away to where it had faded away from that. And just knowing how good like his first 7 years were, and then putting that in comparison to what Albert did his first 10 years. Just to continue to do that into, and beyond, and what he's doing now at the age of 42 is just, it's just insane.
When you talk about right-handed hitters, I was a kid when Aaron and Mays were in their prime. So did I see them? Yes. At Busch Stadium, game of the week. But I was a little kid. By the time I was really aware, and I was, before Baseball Reference, there was a thing called a baseball encyclopedia before the internet, and I would get those and I would pour through them. But to say I really saw them at their peak would not really be accurate. But when you go back and look, you defer to Mays and Aaron and Frank Robinson and some of those guys. But Pujols' career is right there with the very best right-handed hitters and other hitters that ever played. When you look at his first 10 years, they look like the numbers you would find from the Ruthian era, that Hank Greenberg and Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Rogers Hornsby. He didn't hit 424, but he would hit 330. I mean, in the well under 100 strikeouts and all those kinds of things. He was doing the old-timey Ruthian stuff in a modern era. It just blows your mind.
Yeah, it really does. So we still, we still have 10 days left in baseball season this year. Cardinals have 8 games left to go. 2 of them will be in Milwaukee. Full series preview of that coming tomorrow here on the show. But the Cardinals have to win one game one game in Milwaukee, and they are set in the postseason. They're set there. They're at the third spot. Whatever happens. The final 7 games of the those 6 games against the Pirates will mean absolutely nothing if they get one win against Milwaukee. And quite frankly, I mean, that is a good place to be, knowing that there is that little pressure on you the remainder of the season.
Yeah, and it will give time, and in my view, needed time for Ollie Marmol to figure out the myriad questions that are staring him in the face as he gets ready to go into postseason as a first-time manager. And Joe, when you look at it, he doesn't have not one starting outfielder that can grab the position and say, I'm starting every day. I'm legitimate. In recent work, he's got one. Well, I'll give Michaelis. He's got 2 guys that if it ended today, you could say, okay, here's my 1 and 2, and it's Quintana and Michaelis. Yeah. There are a lot of questions to be asked, but they will be. What I would like to do is to see somebody, or what I would like to see is somebody get all the potential outfielders in a room. Say, boys, I'm going to put my lineup up here. You got 8 games to win a spot. Because right now, there's nobody that I'm comfortable saying, oh, this guy's got to start every game.
Yeah.
No way. But
I asked Claibs this earlier today. Right now, your wild card starting pitchers for the Cardinals.
Oh, wild card. I think there's, here's what happens. So what if this week Wainwright throws a complete game shutout and Quintana gets blown out in the first inning? Does it change your mind? Of course it does. So the only thing we do is say, if you're going to start tomorrow, you'd go Quintana, Michaelis, probably 1-2 at home.
All 3 are at home. Remember, all
right.
3. Yeah.
So I'm just saying those 2, and then you don't have to make the decision on game 3 till after game 2.
Yeah.
And so if you don't need it, then you probably go Montgomery to start game 1 the next game. If not, Monty's probably got to go on Sunday. Now, on the other hand, depending on how they pitch, being it's a home game, would you trust Waino to go there to win it? Gosh, I don't know. He'd have to pitch really well in his next outing. So those are the questions that face him. But I think as of today, and I reserve the right to change based on how they perform, but as of today, it's got to be Quintana, Michaelis.
So here is where everything stands right now. There's only 4 games going on in Major League Baseball tonight, and honestly, only one of them, has any kind of, 2 of them, I should say, have some sort of bearing on playoff positioning.
Right.
And that is right now Yankees Blue Jays in Toronto. That game tied at 2 right now. And I have not heard of any reports of any Yankee players who were not able to make the trip. I don't know if that still is actually in tact.
Did Canada rescind that order?
That's what I don't know. I haven't read. It hasn't been something that's been talked about lately in Major League Baseball. So I don't know if that is still something that is that we have to look at. I know
you're going to be disappointed when I tell you that I'm not up to my Canadian border regulations like I should be.
You know what? I focused on me. That's all I cared about, is if I could cross the border. I don't care about Andrew Bettinetti. I don't care if he can cross the border. I only care about me and if I can cross the border. And I know that I knew I was good. The Braves are up 8-0 right now on the Nationals. That one probably more important to Cardinal fans, as that will put the Braves 1 game back of the Mets. And
1 game or 1/2 game?
1 game back. They are 1.5 games back now of the Mets.
Gain half, right?
Yeah, so they will gain a half game, and they will be 1 full game back of the Mets going into these final 3 series. The winner of that, whoever finishes on top between the Braves and the Mets, and I don't know what their tiebreaker status is right now, who holds that between the 2 teams, that would be who the Cardinals would play in the NLDS if they are able to win the wild card series. On to that wild card series, as of right now, The Phillies are 1.5 games behind the Padres for that third spot in the wild card. So if the season were to end today, the Cardinals would be welcoming in Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and the Philadelphia Phillies.
And that's why lefties like Quintana and Montgomery are so important.
Absolutely.
But the Brewers are only, 2 games behind them?
The Brewers are 1.5 games behind the Phillies. Yes.
So it's still 3 for 2.
Yeah.
3 teams for 2 spots. It could go any way.
Yep. That's 3 games separate the Padres from the Brewers here in the final 10 days of the season. It's fun. It's fun. And you know what? What makes it more fun? Sitting there, not having to worry if you're going to have a seat at the table. Right. And right now the Cardinals basically 1 or 2 wins away from securing that on the season and knowing where they stand for playoff baseball. Rammer, we will have more a little quick 2-game series preview tomorrow here on the show. Looking forward to that, and also looking forward to speculating what the Brewers might give the Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina for their going away gift. As we're in the final week of the Albert gift tracker, only 2 teams left, as the Brewers and the Pirates will be the final 2 to honor Albert and Yadi. What'd you think of? I mean, the golf bags. You know what? I liked it, but
it was okay.
The part of it was clever. It was unique, whatever. Hey, you're going to retire. You're going to spend a lot of golf. What I did not care for is putting the Angels, the Dodgers, and the Cardinal logo on Albert's. I know we played for those 3 teams.
I did like it. I don't
think Albert wants to be reminded of his time in Anaheim.
I don't know. He made a lot of money. I would be very thankful. Thank you. But I'm not being a smart aleck here. Wouldn't you put the toppest line golf clubs a set in there? Wouldn't you have this whole set of clubs in there? Wouldn't that? I mean, come on.
Maybe do they need to fit him? Like, do they know? Maybe that?
Yeah, because you couldn't go to the golf store and get fitted. You couldn't do that.
I didn't see if there was maybe a check inside too. I don't know. I'm not.
I thought it was fine. I still think the coolest ones were the surfboards. Of everything this year, I think the surfboards are cool.
Was Yachty's a surfboard or was that a boogie board?
No, because
it was
there's
so
a
much
long
shorter
board and a short board, and so they gave 1 each.
Did they ask them which they preferred? It's the size difference in them. Just I don't know.
It's 2 different kinds of surfing.
Manny Machado kind of was the guy that said this needed to be done. So hopefully he did some research and actually looked into some of the.
Well, I think I accidentally sort of predicted it. When they went out there, you said, what would they do? And you talked about the Mariano Rivera, beach bike thing. I said, well, something to do with the outdoors and the beach and all that. And sure enough, they did surfboards. So I'm going to give myself credit as getting that. And I thought that they were painted cool. I thought it was because it wasn't, I just thought it was cool. I thought they kind of thought through it and came up with a fun idea, and I thought it was really cool. So in whatever dig me room those guys have, you hang that up on the wall or on the ceiling or whatever. I think that is pretty neat.
What is your prediction then for what the Brewers give Albert?
A couple pony kegs of Miller Lite, probably. Cheap bastards.
I already have an idea in mind as for what the Pirates will give, but I'm going to save that for next week.
Save that for later in the
week on the show. This has been another edition of Daily Cards Live right here on ClaibsOnline.com. Late night edition of the program, brought to you as always by Royal Banks of Missouri and Munganast St. Louis Acura. Find them online at stlouisacura.com. You can find their showroom out there at 13720 Manchester Road in St. Louis. The nation's only 30-time Acura Precision Team winner. Again, go find them online first at stlouisacura.com. He is Bob Ramsey. I am Joe Roderick. We will be back with you tomorrow for more Daily Cards Live right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
From our roots in St. Louis, Royal Banks of Missouri is branching out to continue serving you with our locations in St. Charles, Jerseyville, Granite City, and now in Hannibal, Center, and New London. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank in your community.